9 individuals, including well-known musical artists, kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas, Texas.
10 days. That is what makes this story hit differently. Not just the FBI raid, not just the flashbangs, not just the fact that federal agents showed up at 6 in the morning at Pooh Shiesty's family home in Cordova, Tennessee. It is the timing. According to the source material, his full release from federal supervision was set for April 11th, 2026. The raid happened on April 1st. He was 10 days from the finish line, and the federal government still came through that door. That matters because this is bigger than one chaotic morning. It gets at something a lot of people misunderstand about federal cases. Prison time is one part of it. The sentence can keep following you after you come home. The walls may be gone, but the surveillance is not. The restrictions are not. The consequences are not. And that is why this story is not just, did Pooh Shiesty get raided? The real story is what kind of pressure was already building before the FBI ever arrived, and whether that pressure was aimed at him, someone in his family, or both.
As alleged, Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol, forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint.
To understand why this moment feels so heavy, you have to start with how fast his career rose. Shiesty came out of Memphis and exploded almost overnight. He signed to Gucci Mane's 1017, dropped Back in Blood, and became one of the most visible new rap stars in the country. Then came Shiesty season in early 2021, and for a moment it looked like the launch was complete. He had the record, the momentum, the cosign, the audience. Everything was moving in one direction. Then the legal side caught up. The source material points to a series of incidents that built the federal case around him. There was the October 2020 Bay Harbor Island situation in Florida, where what allegedly began as an attempt to buy marijuana, codeine, and sneakers escalated into violence. There was also an incident in Memphis involving a firearm discharged from a vehicle at a gas station. Then another allegation in Miami at the King of Diamonds strip club, where he was accused of assaulting a victim with a firearm during an altercation. Taken together, those situations pushed the case into a different arena. Federal authorities stepped in. And once that happens, the stakes change. According to the source, he was indicted on charges that included conspiracy to possess firearms in furtherance of violent crime, Hobbs Act robbery conspiracy, and discharging a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence. At one point, the potential exposure was enormous. Life in prison was not just internet exaggeration. It was part of what made the case so serious. He eventually took a plea deal in January 2022. Some charges were dropped. He pleaded guilty to a firearms conspiracy count tied to crimes of violence and drug trafficking. In April 2022, he was sentenced to 63 months in federal prison. That should have been the lowest point of the story. Then, in October 2025, he got out early. On paper, that looked like a comeback. The prison door opened, the music restarted, and the narrative shifted back toward redemption. The source says he dropped FDO, first day out, and for a moment, it looked like the machine was ready to move again. Fans were locked in. The industry was paying attention. His return had energy behind it. But there is a difference between being released and being free. That is where this story turns. According to the source material, when he came home in October 2025, he was still under federal supervision through a residential reentry management program connected to the RRM Dallas field office with a projected full release date of April 11th, 2026. That means the federal system had not let go of him yet. Not fully. He still had rules. He still had limits. He still had people watching. And when you are in that position, normal behavior is no longer normal. Travel matters. Location matters. Online behavior matters. What you say in public matters. The same internet visibility that helps an artist stay relevant can become a liability when the federal government is still tracking your movements.
Electronic monitoring data placing Williams Jr. at the offense location.
They basically said it had the ankle monitor on at the robbery.
That is why the social media piece is so important here. The source describes him posting publicly, appearing to be outside Dallas while still under supervision. It also points to a viral live stream moment with his associate Big 30 where, midstream, his parole officer allegedly called and reprimanded him for not being home. Whether that incident produced a formal violation or not, it put one thing on display: he was not moving quietly. And quiet is usually what federal supervision rewards. Then came another public move that may matter even more. Days before the raid, according to the source material, Pooh Shiesty addressed allegations that he had cooperated in his federal case. He reportedly got on social media, pulled up case paperwork on camera, and tried to push back on the narrative himself. In rap, that kind of accusation can stain a name for years, so the impulse is understandable. But understanding the impulse is not the same as saying it was smart. Because once you are still under federal supervision, that kind of video does not just become content, it becomes part of the record. You are speaking publicly about your case, your co-defendants, your paperwork, your version of events, all while the people supervising you can watch it in real time. Maybe that video had nothing to do with what happened next. Maybe it had a lot to do with it. What matters is that it added another layer of exposure at exactly the wrong moment. Then April 1st arrives and everything gets darker. Per the source material, the FBI came to the family home in Cordova around 6 in the morning, used flashbangs, and executed both a search warrant and an arrest warrant. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation was reportedly involved as well. Agents were in and out of the property for hours. And that is where the story stops being straightforward, because the home, according to the source, is associated with the name Lontrell Denell Williams, a name shared by Pooh Shiesty and his father, Rel Williams Sr. That detail changes the whole frame. Now the question is not only whether Pooh was the target, the question is whether the warrant was aimed at him at all. That shared name opens multiple possibilities, and none of them are good. One possibility is that the federal government was looking for Pooh Shiesty specifically and believed he was at that Memphis area property when, under the terms described in the source material, he was supposed to still be tied to Dallas. If that is the case, then his location alone could raise supervision problems before you even get to whatever the underlying investigation was. Another possibility is that the warrant centered on the address itself, or on his father, or on some other activity connected to that home. If that is true, then this becomes a different kind of story. Not a clean rapper gets violated headline, but a more complicated situation where family ties, a shared name, and a shared address create overlapping exposure. That uncertainty is what makes the raid feel so volatile. The facts in the source point to federal action, but not yet to a clear public explanation of who the actual arrest target was. And until that piece is confirmed, every theory has to stay a theory. Still, a few things stand out. First, silence. The source notes that, as of that morning, there had been no official confirmation of who was arrested, no statement from his team, no clarification from family, no immediate comment from his label, and no public explanation from his lawyer. That silence matters. In situations that are simple misunderstandings, people usually move quickly to clear the air. When the response is nothing, it often means the situation is either too serious to spin or too legally sensitive to discuss. Second, the federal timeline. Again, he was reportedly 10 days from completing supervision. 10 days. That is what gives this story its edge. It suggests either catastrophic timing or a problem serious enough that federal authorities were willing to act right before the end of his supervision window. Either way, it is not routine. Third, the pattern. The source keeps circling back to a larger truth that feels hard to ignore. The federal government is patient. They do not need to react to every public misstep in real time. They can watch, they can document, they can wait. A viral live stream, visible travel, public case commentary, a family address already on the radar. Any one of those things might not collapse somebody on its own. Together, they can paint a very different picture, and that is why this situation lands as more than celebrity news. It is a case study in post-release vulnerability, especially for artists. Coming home from a federal sentence does not mean you re-enter the world as a normal public figure. The same visibility that builds a comeback can also build a file. The same need to defend your name can put your words back in front of the people with the power to punish you. And there is one more layer that makes this especially bleak. If the real focus was his father, and Pooh Shiesty got pulled into the fallout because of proximity, because of the address, because of the name, then this is not just about bad choices, It is about how hard it can be to separate yourself from the legal gravity around you, even after serving time. So where does that leave the story? Right at the point where speculation has to stop and the consequences begin. As presented in the source material, we know there was a federal search warrant, a federal arrest warrant, flashbangs, an early morning operation, and a family home tied to a shared name. We know Pooh Shiesty was still under supervision and was close to the end of it. We know his public activity had already raised eyebrows. What we do not know, at least from this material, is the one answer everyone wants first. Who exactly the arrest warrant was for and why federal agents chose that moment to move. Until that becomes public, the most honest reading is also the most unsettling one. This may be a supervision issue. It may be a new investigation. It may be connected to his father. It may involve more than one of those things at the same time. But whatever the final explanation is, the larger message is already clear. When the federal government still has a hand on your life, 10 days can mean nothing. That is the part people should sit with, not just the raid, not just the headlines. The fact that a comeback can look real, the music can be moving, the audience can believe the worst is over, and the system can still come back before sunrise and remind you that the sentence was never really done. What makes this story stick is not just the raid, it is what the raid represents. A man was sitting 10 days away from the end of federal supervision, 10 days from finally being able to say that chapter was over, and before the clock ran out, the FBI was back at the door. Flashbangs at sunrise, a family home in the middle of it, a shared name on the property. No clear public answers yet, just silence, questions, and the kind of federal pressure that usually means this is deeper than one bad morning. And that is why this situation feels bigger than Pooh Shiesty alone. Whether this turns out to be a direct move at him, something tied to his father, a supervision violation, or a mix of all three, the message is the same. In the federal system, the sentence does not always end when people think it does. The spotlight might come back, the file might still be open, and one move, one post, one address can change everything. Now, the music is no longer the headline, freedom is, and until the paperwork, the charges, and the real target are fully confirmed, this story is hanging in that dangerous space between rumor and reality. The only thing we know for sure is that this is serious, and the next update could change everything. Stay with BarzBuzz, because the second this case moves, we are breaking all of it down. If this saga had you shook, wait till you see what's next. You already know what it is. BarzBuzz got the real, raw, and unfiltered breakdowns. So don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to catch up.